It's post-ban legacy time. Let's go! Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another legacy video. And I've got a spicy one here today to kick us off. This has been sitting at the top of my queue for a little while, but I was kind of waiting for the BNR update to play this one, because it's definitely on the spicy side of things. This is straight up a Rakdos Cori-Steel Cutter deck. Now, Cori-Steel Cutter is really good in the blue cantrip shell because it's just so easy to repeatedly trigger not only this ability, but also the prowess ability that is attached to the monks afterwards. And it's a little hard to replicate that if you aren't in blue. This deck is playing a whopping 8 baubles, and it has synergies with Nethergoyf. And Nethergoyf just being able to chonk opponents' HP down very quickly is quite powerful. And as another way to guarantee that you can play 2 spells, you are playing Amped Raptor. So there's a bunch of ways to get your 2 spells. You just play a bauble and anything else. You play a Cabal Therapy and flash it back, and you are just instantly good to go. And your Orcish Bowmasters, as well as your Monk tokens, synergize well with the Cabal Therapy. Or you Amped Raptor into another card immediately. I made very few changes to the main deck here. Gunblaker made this donation, and they said that they felt like they were having trouble versus Wasteland. And so I removed 1 Cabal Therapy and just added 1 more fetch land so that we are a little bit denser on land. 16 is really kind of skimping it on lands. Even if you do have the 8 baubles, you do need that land in your starting hand, and preferably 2 to know that you are secure. And I feel like the deck is just a little more comfortable here. Now, as far as the sideboard goes, in the previous metagame, there were some Rakdos charms there, and I'm a little on the fence about what I want to do with the sideboard, so I'm going to sort of customize it in real time here. Nethergoyf is a deck that has is a card that has awesome synergy in this deck with all of these various creature types hitting the graveyard. It is going to be huge. But if I put Nethergoyf into the deck, I'm going to have some things that Amped Raptor doesn't hit. The card may just be strong enough that a couple of them in the post sideboard configuration is fine. But we need to cover a few things. Having a couple extra threats for control is nice. Having some answers to artifacts are nice. Having some Pithing Needle effects to stop planeswalkers and the One Ring are nice. I don't know that we get to have it all. I think in the fear that people are going to be playing Oops All Spells at the beginning of this BNR update period means I keep the Leyline of the Voids instead of going to some combination of other things like Tormod's Crypts and Cling to Dusts or Spell Bombs. But maybe I'm wrong. I love a playset of Pyroblast here. We live in a Tamiyo world now. I love Price of Progress as something that can steal wins versus these Mystic Forge One Ring decks that are playing a gajillion non-basic lands. It's going to be pretty easy for this to deal 6 to 8 damage in the mid-game. I think a pile of Urza Saga Construct tokens could be a problem. I really conceptually like the idea of Meltdown in this deck. That can theoretically clear out the Grim Monoliths and the Urza Saga tokens and the keys all at the same time. Let's hope that Price of Progress plus Meltdown plus 7 discard spells is enough to give us a reasonable chance there. And I can also consider playing these to answer the Planeswalkers as well. Am I in for that? I think I'm in for that. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop into the league here. Folks, we've got a brand new Legacy metagame, and some of the most oppressive stuff has been taken out of it. You might need to adapt your decks, and if you do, please consider going to toamagic.com and using promo code ThrabenU to support my content while saving a little bit on your order. These folks always give you free shipping and great customer service. You won't regret ordering with them. All right, it's post-ban Legacy. I'm excited. I'm excited about Legacy for the first time in a long time. Let's battle. Alrighty. Opening hand is solid here. I think I'm going to go ahead and just lead on Thoughtseize off a basic land here. I was told in advance that Wasteland is kind of scary for this deck. Force pitching Fluster. Opponent probably up to no good. I don't need to draw this card immediately in case they're doing discard or weird draw sevens or something. You gonna be like High Tide? You a brave soul? Doing High Tide? Now that cards have been banned? No. You are a criminal playing Sneak and Show. I don't know if we're gonna have enough pressure here. I mean, maybe now. Against this deck, it is now probably less important to get this second basic land. I'm going to save this in case I can turn it into a Surveil land. All right, there's basic land number 2. Let's see if we can get some damage going. 2 mana. All right, just full cost days. I accept. All right, I've got 3 mana worth of stuff to do here. So let's go ahead and DRC. Bauble to Surveil. I'd like to find discard more so than anything else here. I am just gonna put this in play right now. Ingya, 18. What are you drawing? A Ponder. Okay. So it's currently turn 3. I am going to be hitting for... Oh, okay. I'll hit for about 5 and... Well, okay. The combat math is going to be a little weird if my opponent is casting cantrips into my stuff. We saw a shuffle. That is actively good for me. Ooh, this is a lot of power now. But I'm very afraid that I just die next turn. My opponent is at 11. I get to throw down DRC and then Nethergoyf. This is lethal damage next turn. So one of us is dying. If my opponent puts in a lifelinker, it might not be good enough. I can just fatal push the creature. Ooh, this is the all-in moment. Anyway, if they just put in something like an Atraxa, I might be able to attack in, fatal push the creature that Atraxa blocks, and then still have lethal. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, close to lethal. Maybe lethal with that. I think we got a little lucky there. So we got the game 1. We know that Pyroblasts are good. We know that Fatal Pushes are bad. That's the starting point for the sideboarding. And then we decide if we want to have Sheoldred's Edict as an out for creatures that get into play. The card I would cut is probably Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt goes to face and potentially takes a turn off the clock. It is a better proactive card, and Sheoldred's Edict is a better reactive card. I think I will take the reactive card here. I'm going to be slowing down my game a little bit on average anyway in post-sideboard configuration games. Absolutely. The only question here is going to be, do I DRC on turn 1 or not? And I believe that the answer is no, even if that leaves 2 baubles in my hand for a turn cycle. All right, that is a shuffle. That is what I want to see. But what about 3 baubles, though? I still think I Thoughtseize now, so that I don't just immediately lose to Ancient Tomb, Show and Tell, and Fatty. The information is very important here. What did the Ponder do? The Ponder shuffles. The top card is random. I'm going to take the Brainstorm, and if my opponent... Man, they can draw a Ponder or Brainstorm and get into... Next turn, if I leave the Emrakul in hand, I can take it with Cabal Therapy. Sneak Attack doesn't matter. It is exactly Show and Tell that matters. I'm gonna take the Brainstorm, and I'll pass there. Plus, it's really good content if they just draw the Show and Tell. Classic. I'm gonna put in a Bauble and get another card deeper in my deck. For Justice, I now draw Sheoldred's Edict. Negative. All right, we died. I accept that. I will run back the same configuration here. This needs another land, but is ultimately a pretty good hand. I do have to get a Badlands here, and Thoughtseize you. Opponent says no. I'm going to cycle these baubles immediately so that I have a better chance at drawing a land to potentially Amped Raptor. Okay, opponent has Ancient Tomb and Lotus Petal, so they've got the broken mana, so the question becomes, do they have something to do with it? They kept 7. That's a real good card. We did not hit lands. They were willing to Force of Will to protect something, so I imagine that this goes poorly for me this turn. Yep. I guess I will put in an Amped Raptor. So I will get my 2 energy, but I did not cast it from my hand. So now I am dead. With no second land, I can't even roll the dice on Amped Raptor. So that is what it is. GG. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. My opponent has mulligan to 6. I'm keeping my opening hand. I've got 2 basic lands here and a pretty solid hand. I'm going to go ahead and get that basic swamp and play the Cabal Therapy game. We're just going to name one of the busted cards that you could cast. I don't know. We'll choose one at just totally random here. We miss. But now we know the rest of the stuff that's there, and we can flashback this Cabal Therapy next turn while hopefully doing something else with Amped Raptor. There's Ancient Tomb number 2. On it goes for the Karn immediately. In some timelines, I do have to Lightning Bolt this here. See what they're going for. It might just be coding this early on. It is, unfortunately, the One Ring. Okay, I mean, this worked out well. So, land drop, Thoughtseize you, and this will also double check for a Force of Will. Our opponent has shown us stock up. Oh, they let it go. I mean, I'll take the One Ring. That card will absolutely bury us. And then we'll see how they feel about this. I think the One Ring is way better than a Karn. See how they feel about that, though. They were not willing to Force of Will to protect a One Ring. They are willing to Force of Will to protect the Karn, though. That's okay, honestly. The Karn is probably easier for me to beat than the One Ring. Although if I get Rashadan ported with Liquid Metal Coating and taken off 2 mana, my entire hand doesn't do anything. So there is that. Is Ensnaring Bridge. That is admittedly a little tough to deal with. Opponent's not willing to cast it immediately. That at least is going to mean that I'll get to kill Karn. Oh, I'll get to take Bridge too, right? So, well, I guess I could kill Karn is the more accurate way to say that. Send at Karn. Because it's possible that my opponent can just use the Kozilek's command to cancel this out. Fuck, did I just need to not attack the Karn and play Cabal Therapy on Ensnaring Bridge? Yeah, I think that is correct. Yeah, weird to not use the haste creature in this scenario, but I think I just fucked that up. Alright, let's see if I can get myself out of this. Planar Nexus is another land for Cloud Post purposes. Yeah, there's the bridge. This is a stock up. It works against Ensnaring Bridge. It's a Thunder Trap Trainer instead. Sure. That's 2 cards in hand. I can theoretically still attack here. I think it's probably... Well, it's maybe correct to plus on Ensnaring Bridge there. It makes the Ensnaring Bridge more vulnerable, but makes it less likely that I can somehow cheese an attack that kills Karn with Cori-Steel Cutter Monks. I think I'm going to go ahead and go fetch, surveil. Nethergoyf is not currently good. Let's say no to that. And that is also potential value for later. Amped Raptor gets Orcish Bowmasters, which triggers Cori-Steel Cutter. I still have a Cabal Therapy in Yard. So I can go ahead and ping Karn, cast Cabal Therapy, target you. We'll just sacrifice something that is unlikely to be able to attack. Oh shit. This works against what I wanted to do. I take the stock up, and then this can't attack because of the prowess. I fucked that up. I could have taken Thundertrap Trainer out of play, but it would not have killed Karn. So I now need to find like a lightning bolt effect to kill Karn before Karn finds Lattice. Seems like opponent had a live draw. It's another Karn, and that one is just going to plus for higher loyalty. Makes sense. Another Cori-Steel Cutter is interesting. I think I am in pretty immediate danger. I will cast that just for the monk token. I think this is curtains for me. I had some slightly better ways to navigate this game, but my opponent's initial hand that had One Ring and Karn, and that Force of Will randomly being the top card after we had Thoughtseized was rough. Yeah, so there is the Lattice. And now I am effectively locked out of the game. My opponent's got enough mana where I don't think things are going to get stuck in their hand. I am comfortable conceding there. GG. Let's get those meltdowns for bridge and some of this sort of stuff. Probably get rid of Fatal Push completely. I don't think I want Pyroblasts. Amped Raptor hitting Meltdown or Sheldur's Edict is a little awkward. I think I'm just going to accept that. Can I go down some bolts if I am bringing in Sheldur's Edict, which kind of do the same thing? I'm going to hope that the answer is yes. I think I'm going to do that and that. Keep a handful of things that interact with a resolved Karn. This is fine. I don't have the discard that I would like, but hopefully this is a lot of aggression to make up for that. An opponent is mulliganing. Let's get this going. We do need to get bad lands the first time, as both of our lands are black. Our fetch lands are black. And there's a Cloud Post. Nethergoyf is probably worth about 2 damage next turn. Amped Raptor is probably worth more on average. I think I'm going to go ahead and Amped Raptor here. I think it's okay to get my basic here. So we'll Raptor. Ooh, into a Bowmasters. That is a fair amount of damage. It's 1 from the ping, and then it represents 4 more next turn. Send in for 1. It's very easy for me to get the instant into the graveyard. The other types beyond that are maybe not coming immediately here. Opponent's got 2 mana and a Chalice of the Void. Well, that lets me get some other types into the graveyard. That actually might have been good for me, as weird as that is to say. Thoughtseize goes to the graveyard. There's a sorcery. There's an artifact going to the graveyard. There is 3. I can send this to the graveyard for +2 damage, or I can do this for +2 damage. One is worse against a counterspell, I suppose, but is otherwise just a much stronger play. Yeah. I think the hope here is that I do this, and hopefully my opponent concedes before I have to show Price of Progress, honestly. I'll get my redraw. Nice. Ancient Tomb costs life. A 1 ring is pretty good for my opponent here. So if you're not familiar with this interaction, I can now just go ahead and ping my Orc token, since I can't ping my opponent's face. And this is not going to end up killing my Orc token. When I get another combat step, my opponent will die. So I'll go ahead and just pass the turn here. My opponent takes some damage. I would love for them to play a land. I think this is my moment to go ahead and Price of Progress before they have a greater chance at drawing a Force of Will. Okay, cool. So I already have boarded in my things that address Chalice of the Void. I don't think I am making any changes here. I think this is a reasonable keep. If my opponent does a turn 1 or turn 2 Chalice of the Void, I'm still capable of playing Magic. I don't necessarily have the Thoughtseize style cards that I would like to have, but everything else here is pretty solid. I think I will go ahead and attempt to play the game on basic lands, because we are on 3x Price of Progress. This Nethergoyf is probably relatively unimpressive as a threat, at least early on. Alright, there is a Chalice of the Void. That's not the end of the world, but it's not great for me. I can't trigger Cori-Steel Cutter yet. If I play it this turn, I can trigger it with an Amped Raptor next turn. I'm always going to fetch my mountain. Oh shit, that was a Chalice on 2. Wasn't expecting that. That is surprisingly good against my hand. Okay. Given that, I think we are doing this anyway. And just using that to grow the Nethergoyf and bashing on in. The Chalice feels problematic. We don't have traditional blue cantrips to just dig towards our answers to that. So hopefully the top of the deck is kind to us. Hate this. This means Kozilek's Command is probably eating my Nethergoyf. I'm just going to send in here. I don't think I cast the Lightning Bolt for an additional point of damage here. I could cast the Shoulder's Edict for an additional point of damage, but I think I'm just going to hold up the Bolt in case my opponent ends up playing a Karn in the next turn cycle. Opponent is just bouncing my creature. Ancient Tomb. That is a Chalice on 1 that is countered by Chalice on 2. We'll take it. I think I'm good there. I don't want to draw more 2-drops though. That is rather bad for me. Cool. No end of turn Kozilek's Command. Alright, opponent apparently has a little bit of a clunker. I think I'm going to send Bolt at face now. I think it's time to just grow the Nethergoyf. So I have land, creature, instant, artifact. We're going in. 4. Please. Don't have anything. F. That is another spell that is countered by their own Chalice of the Void. We'll take it. 7. There's a Cloud Post. I feel like I'm just getting away with fucking murder here. I already have an artifact in my yard. Guess I play this out anyway, though. Send in for 4. It's another blue piece of interaction. Are we sinking to Stupering again? We are sinking to Stupering again. I mean, I will recast it. What else do you have? Thunder Trap Trainer. Sure. Maybe they were trying to wait for Offspring on that. Oh, no. Never mind. Chalice. Yeah, they put Chalice on 2. And then had 1, 2, 3 different 2-drops that they fumbled over. I have so many 2-drops. 4. Alright, now do you get a good card? Black. The Dismember. Alright, so this can come back from my graveyard later. I need 3 mana to do that. I don't have 3 mana yet. What's going on over there? You've got a 3-drop. Sure. I'm going to end up yeeting an Orcish Bowmaster into Chalice of the Void. They are going to Tidebinder my draw trigger. Sure. Opponent is producing black mana for a Barrogoyf. Alright. That's bad. I suspect that that ends up beating me. I can't bring this back. I can play a bauble. I can send another thing to graveyard. I get attacked for 7. My opponent gets out of easy burn range. I think this game is going to become... Do I draw something like Meltdown to get rid of this Chalice? Oh, fuck, it's an Ugin. Alright, well, we can concede to the Ugin. Actually, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 damage. My opponent can go to 11 plus 3. I guess they would need to play more lands. I think with that not being either a land or a Meltdown, I can concede there. That was a weird game of Magic the Gathering. GG. Alrighty. Opening hand is pretty solid. Looks like we were playing against some sort of 8-cast style deck. Something with Emery and friends. Let's go non-basics here. I might need to cast multiple different, like, 1 CMC spells of assorted colors this game. I will bauble. Do I want another bauble? That lets me go Cori-Steel Cutter into bauble at some point. I will go ahead and just take that. That's not sending another card type to graveyard anyway. Yeah, Mox Opal. Not surprising. I'll take my redraw. There's Saga. We have Meltdown for this sort of nonsense in the post-sideboard configuration. Patchwork Automaton is pretty annoying. It's hard to cleanly answer that card. Hopefully I just either go wide of it. All right, now I might need to answer that. With another mana, Fatal Push can answer this. So let's fetch. I think I see if this resolves first. If my opponent were to Force of Will this, I would get 2 cards with a Lightning Bolt, and then I've already fetched, so I can Fatal Push Emery anyway. You can just go to Graveyard. Feels like Force of Will to me. Nice. Oh, we got a Kappa Cannoneer for our trouble. Nice. So now, because I fetched, I can still Fatal Push here. Amped Raptor. Amped Raptor is fine. Amped Raptor is like Schrodinger's removal spell for Urza Saga Construct tokens in the future. I can wait on cracking that. Now my creature flies. I'll send in for 3. Opponent's at 16. Wait, why did I play that Urza's Bauble? I took that specifically to play on the turn that I played Cori-Steel Cutter. That was bad on my end. 16. I guess now that I've done it, I go ahead and just crack this. Emery is the remaining card. There's a Badlands. So we go, yeah, Surveil. Next turn, Amped Raptor gets me my 2 spells. I think I'll just say no to that. Ball Therapy, target you, triggers. Fatal Push is totally fine. I'll keep that. No, our opponent has Emery, and we will take Emery. Opponent's construct will be a 1, 2, 3, 4. I won't send in with the monk. I will just send in with DRC. Opponent's at 13, and a Shadow Spear could be. Oh, sorry, did not mute the mic in time there. A Shadow Spear could be pretty annoying here. Lava Spur Boots plus land is scary. Possible my opponent could clear out the graveyard with something like a Tormod's Crypt. They're going for a Petal or a Memory Guardian. Surprisingly annoying. Have to attack into that. I don't think I'm the beatdown anymore. Target player gains 6 life is fine. I still have a Cabal Therapy that I can use to cast another spell if I need to. I think we roll the dice here and see what happens. Cabal Therapy, target you. That will at least make me a monk. That is slow right now. I say no to that. Lifetime Pass Holder sounds great. So what is this Fatal Push doing? I think it has to kill a construct token. And this is just a sacrifice to Memory Guardian. I don't think I need the Fatal Push immediately. I think I can Fatal Push on their turn to turn this into a 3/3. I was really hoping to trade with that Patchwork Automaton. That might not be happening. Is everybody turning sideways? Everybody is turning sideways. Okay. We are Fatal Pushing a construct token for sure. And I take 9 damage and go to 4. Let's try to do that. The Patchwork Automaton is just difficult to answer while doing other things. This Memory Guardian kills me in 2 turns. I'm not too worried about the construct token. A Nethergoyf. Okay. So there's Nethergoyf. There's 2 mana for Bowmasters. In your face. I'll intend on blocking this with the Orc Army token, and I'll send in for 2. It is possible for me to steal this one still, I think. I'm representing 6 easy damage next turn. Okay, that's just mana. I don't think there was a reason to cast that second Mox Opal there. I think that was just autopilot. Alright, so opponent is just going to attack with the Memory Guardian since that is lethal next turn. I don't know that I'm going to get 10 through that construct token. Can't fetch with this. So I can go remove land, artifact, creature, instant. That doesn't shrink Nethergoyf. There's spell number 1. Here's Spell number 2. Sacrifice said Nethergoyf. Prowess triggers. We'll attach Cori-Steel Cutter to that monk. Name lifetime pass holder again. No, let's name Bird Gets the Worm. So now this gets blocked. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. I can cast a Cabal Therapy, target you again. That gets rid of an orc. Nets 1 damage. So 3, 6, 7 damage. I'm just short. GG. Very close. Closer than I thought it was going to be, given circumstances. Meltdown is obviously awesome here, and then these are cards that I can think about beyond that. I'm not super interested in attacking my opponent's hand here. They're so good at emptying their hand, and things like Emery are going to be very good at restocking. I think I am more interested in interacting than in trying to hit their hand. Price of Progress is also reasonable here, but sometimes I just can't cast that card because some Urza Saga Construct tokens or Patchwork Automata have hit me. This is fine. This has a Lightning Bolt on turn 1 for an Emery, and then Cori-Steel Cutter into Bauble later on. I wonder if I lost game 1 because I forgot that I was trying to hold a Bauble for a Cori-Steel Cutter. The margins were so tight on that game. I'm going to assume that the loss was my fault on that one. So we will Badlands and pass here. We don't really want to see Ancient Tomb, Patchwork Automaton, and then a couple of artifacts. That's the scary opener here. Urza's Saga. That's good, obviously, but not the end of the world. Sure. Alright, opponent just passes the turn. I don't think I'm gonna just send Lightning Bolt immediately at face here or anything. Ooh, I don't mind that at all. Oh, cool. Opponent is F6'd. We just get to do our crimes then. Yes. Go to punchies. Punchies for 2. Take my redraw. We know opponent has an artifact land. Get a Marsh Flats. Fatal Push is still going to allow us to kill an Urza Saga Construct token. And I'll have 3 mana, so I can do something like Bowmasters and Fatal Push in the same turn cycle. That's fine. If I draw another 1 mana thing, I can maybe attack with another monk too. Alright, it's just the artifact land and pass. Urza Saga token will be a 4/4. Okay. Punchies. Send on in. Opponent is not blocking. I think I just Lightning Bolt their face here. So yeah. Take my extra prowess damage here. 15. 12. And they'll make their friend. And I will Fatal Push it, which triggers Cori-Steel Cutter. Yeah. Now, I probably won't Fatal Push on their turn. I'd like to play Bowmaster and Fatal Push on my own turn for the prowess damage. But I'll cast Push if push comes to shove. Ooh, a Haywire Might, but no immediate green mana. There's a Patchwork Automaton. Sure. The no immediate green mana is a really big deal. That's a 1/1. I do not want to see another Mox Opal. Fuck. So good. Okay, they're not activating immediately, so I might be able to sneak 1 more monk out of Cori-Steel Cutter. Nice. It's a little weird. This will destroy my Cori-Steel Cutter. I'm playing chicken with a Haywire Might activation here. So yeah. Yeah. Actually, I should do it the other way around, right? I should cast the Meltdown, and then in response, Fatal Push. That's better. So there's a Meltdown. Trigger. Haywire Might on the Cori-Steel Cutter. So that I get my other monk, I will go ahead and Fatal Push. Trigger. And then we'll let this stack clear. So when that stack clears, I'm hitting for 6 after destroying a bunch of my opponent's mana and blockers at the same time. Obviously, this is very good. This is why we put the Meltdowns in the deck. Very easy win there. Maybe I needed a 3rd Meltdown. Card feels important for these artifact matchups, and I believe we're 3 for 3 on artifact matchups now. I think I'm okay with how I've boarded. I'm thinking about one more Pyroblast when I'm on the draw, just as an additional thing for Emeries and Memory Guardians, and to a lesser extent Kappa Cannoneers. Yeah, I might go down one of these and play that last Pyroblast when I'm on the draw. Ooh, singular red source. I don't know. I think I say no to this. Fishing for Meltdown is really strong, and having 2 lands is really strong. What about 1 land, though? It is at least both of my colors this time. I think I'm willing to keep this one, whereas I wasn't willing to keep the one that was just a mountain. Like, I have 2 different removal spells, a threat, a redraw, a draw step for turn. I think I'm okay with this. Ancient Tomb. That's Patchwork Automaton. Oh, no. I don't get to answer Patchwork Automaton until I'm on 3 lands, and I currently have 1. Not a good place for me to be. We'll cycle this for sure while growing our Goyf. One has got a Kappa Cannoneer. I am not good against that card right now. We have Pyroblasts in the deck that can potentially answer it, but it's going to be hard to answer that while also progressing my board. The timing for answering that Kappa Cannoneer is very specific, and it could even just happen right now. It's not, luckily. I will take 3. 17. And we have missed on our land drops. This is probably send Bolt to face for the extra point of damage levels of Desperation. Here we go. 15. And 2 more. Opponent not doing anything with their mana. That's the good news. The bad news is this Kappa Cannoneer. The worst news is that Urza Saga. I suspect that I now can't win. There's 2 different ward creatures while I have a single land. I think this is the point where we can tap out. We are playing acceptable legacy power level Magic, but we are just kind of coming short every single time. I think all of these have been 1-2s so far. Let's see if we can put some wins on the board in the second half of the league. GG. Okay, round 4. I don't think this opening hand does anything consistently enough to be better than just mulliganing. 4 lands is a bit too many. We get 2 redraws here, but if I use these as redraws, then hitting something like a Cori-Steel Cutter as the follow-up isn't exactly strong. I like this one better. I need both lands, and I will probably put back 1 Fatal Push here. I'm going to use this immediately to try to make the decision of how important it is to do each of these turn 1 plays. It's Brainstorm. That's very ambiguous. Let's Thoughtseize here. I want to take a removal spell if possible and try to get this Goyf to connect for a large amount. I'll take the sneak attack. Get my redraw. Fatal Push is probably not doing me any favors here. And my opponent probably gets to ponder intentionally fetching Steam Vents. Okay. That's weird. That's very weird. Theater. Do not want land at this stage. Play a Goyf. Play a Bauble. I'm interested in it as a redraw. I guess I will redraw immediately in case I draw a creature and my opponent has a show and tell. Is there any weirdo blue-red card like a Death Shadow that cares about your life total? Or is this person just testing the Magic Online version of their in-paper deck or something? Okay, there's another creature. Ponder is fine. I don't know if I'm going to clock my opponent quickly enough here. So a Fatal Push is not good. I don't have Brainstorm to put it back. Drawing a land there is rough. Send in for 3. Opponent's at 14. And I'm definitely not presenting lethal next turn. I'm probably not presenting a lethal over 2 turns either. If I draw another creature, I can potentially Fatal Push that creature to put an instant in my graveyard. Yeah, cool. We're just stocking up. I mean, this is bad, but it's not killing me right now. I think we are at fetch too thin levels of desperation. where I probably need to hit a Thoughtseize as my next draw. Don't have another Surveil land. Yeah, there are seemingly intentional steam vents. 3 mana. Okay, it is show and tell, which is bad. Put in my land. There's the Emrakul. So I can technically survive a hit of this at 17. I don't win from there. I think I am going to fetch 2 lands out of deck and die. And die. Yep. We were not aggressive enough there. I needed 2 or maybe 3 turns. Pyroblasts and Edicts. And I could honestly consider Price of Progress if my opponent is going to be shocking in Steam Vents. Fatal Pushes are all going to go. Lightning Bolts. The burn is better than normal. Is it still the worst thing in the deck? Burn might be better than Bowmasters? Bowmasters obviously has a very high ceiling, but the floor is pretty low. I guess Bowmasters is extra bodies for Cabal Therapy. Alright. This is fine. I think I will play Nethergoyf on 1, and then hold up both of these on 2. If I get got by, the God draw for not holding up Pyroblast, I think I just have to accept that. I think I need to put my threat into play. Steam Vents again, and Ponder. There's a Lotus Petal. I don't want more land. We'll crash in. And I think I'm always playing a Bowmaster at my opponent's end step, so I don't think I'm going to leave the possibility of a Surveil land here. It's a Fable. That is happening. I think I am just going to go ahead and use my mana here. Force of Will is fine by me. I'd like to draw something else to cast with this Cori-Steel Cutter. Am I willing to not have Pyroblast up, though? That's the question. I think I need to have Pyroblast up, unfortunately. I think it's just too easy to lose on the spot. Especially since my opponent just has some guaranteed looting. 12. It's just so tempting to be aggressive here with my opponent's Steam Vents Ancient Tomb deck. Saying no to another Ancient Tomb. I will counter that. That's a good card. This also gets an instant in my graveyard for the next turn, which feels like big game. No attack from the opponent. I'll go ahead and Surveil. Yeah, for sure. I think there's timelines where I am presenting lethal this turn through this blocker. So there's the Cori-Steel Cutter. Here's the Amped Raptor triggering Cori-Steel Cutter. An Orcish Bowmasters. Ing Face. This is not lethal damage, but there probably has to be a block so Ancient Tomb remains on. And there is. Down to 4. The opponent's got to do the broken thing right here. And they might. Alright, there's a Show and Tell or an Atraxa. Oh no, they can Show and Tell Omniscience immediately. Again, keep Show and Tell, Omniscience, stock up. Oh no, they can't keep stock up. JK. Show and Tell is also a sorcery. Alright. I'm pretty close to still killing through this Atraxa. So if I attack, a 3-power thing is blocked, and another 3-power thing is blocked. I get 2, 4, 5, 6, but my opponent gains 7. They can then copy the Atraxa from there. That is not going to do it. A removal spell this turn lets me win the game, because I just kill whatever the Atraxa blocks so my opponent doesn't gain the life. We end up slightly on the wrong side of that. I think if our aggro deck is not beating the Steam Vents deck, that is a bad sign for us. GG. Alright, my opponent is having internet connectivity problems, so if you notice huge amounts of clock disappearing, that's what's going on there. I will just make a land drop and pass the turn. My opening hand without a 1-drop is a little slow to get going. Hopefully that doesn't matter too much here. I think I will go ahead and Surveil. I would love to find a 0-drop to go with Cori-Steel Cutter, for example. Nope. This is just 2-drop value .deck. That is how we are playing out this one. I am fine throwing down the Cori-Steel Cutter under the understanding that I have 2 to 4 turns worth of activations covered. Force of Will pitching a Dress Down. That's fine. So are we doing some sort of Stifle Knot, Quantum Riddler nonsense, I would guess? Edge Maze. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And it seems like we are Bant. The Bowmastering continues until morale improves. That sounds good to me. Land drop 3. Oh, we are dirtling. Sure. I'll take this opportunity to stick an Orcish Bowmasters. Now this is impending, and the counters will start to come down off of that. I think I'm fine with doing an Amped Raptor here. Lightning Bolt, your face. Send in for 2. Opponent's at 11, which is effectively 8. Swords is good. There's another land drop. Counter comes off of that. I think I just straight up Lightning Bolt there. No, Felia is a thing. Let's not. Okay, cool. Have that covered. Just going to go ahead and send in. Yeah. After no blocks, I am fine with throwing down a Bowmasters, a Dress Down. Sure. I won't get to grow my Orc there. Opponent goes to 8, and Dress Down goes away. Bowmaster ability is back online. And up the Beanstalk. I'm just going to bolt them here. We're just going to send that at face before a Force of Will could cantrip. Then Beanstalk happens, trigger, I hit their face. This is theoretical lethal damage. Consigning a trigger. This is now only 4 of the 5 needed damage, but I do have an Orcish Bowmasters. Opponent's got 1 card left. I think I am fine throwing down with the Amped Raptor immediately and seeing what happens. And that's good enough. So we're playing against Bant Dirtle with a lot of non-basic lands. So I like the idea of Price of Progress, and I don't mind some of this stuff. I would like to become more threat dense, and Price of Progress does that. Fatal Push is perhaps not the thing that kills their creatures, so we probably turn those into those, and that's probably going to feel about right. And then there's some question of, do I want the additional 2 copies of Pyroblast? Pyroblasts and Thoughtseizes and Lightning Bolts feel about the same power level to me. This is a fine opening hand. Opponent just passes. Nice. So I'll fetch, grab Channeler, and start surveilling immediately. Don't need that land. I'll attempt to pass the turn here, and then if opponent fetches and surveils, I'll see what they draw. Alright, there is the Surveil land. Dunking Force. There's a Leyline Binding coming. That's fine. And I'm very happy that opponent didn't catch on to the fact that I fetched a basic after just doing 4 bad lands in a row last game. I don't want to see that land there. Opponent just passes. Sure. Do I want to Amped Raptor now? Probably not. I think I'm holding Bowmasters up. 18. Pass turn. Opponent doesn't blink there. I might actually want to play Bowmasters in their second main phase, oddly enough, so that they can't end of turn Dress Down and have my creature's abilities off for my own turn. Alright, there's a fetch. This Price of Progress is going to be so much damage. Alright, there's Overlord Buddy again. I'll fetch, grab Swamp, play Bowboy, Bowboy your face, then go to my own turn. I think I'm into this. Alright, Lightning Bolt your face, and this potentially... Ooh, Cori-Steel Cutter. If I send that to graveyard, I just get more immediate damage, though. I am fine taking immediate damage, given that I have Price of Progress here. Oh shit, I already had an artifact. That's fine, though. I will go bam, play another creature. Didn't get countered to send a creature to graveyard. Send in for 3. And I think as long as there's not a Supreme Verdict style sweeper, that I just run my opponent over here and finish with Price. Maybe I'm supposed to keep the Cori-Steel Cutter on top so that if a Supreme Verdict happens, I just go Cori-Steel Cutter into Orcish Bowmasters. An EE on 2 does not clear everything, but it does clear 2 things. Okay. Another lightning bolt is great. I could take 2 extra damage if I need to. Send on in. The opponent cracks EE. This turns into a 3/3. There's 8 damage. A Leyline Binding. Uh-huh. You can take out my 4-power creature, presumably. Yep. Take 4. Go to 6. And this is the price of progress. No to that. Death. All right, we do put up 1 win at the end of the day versus an admittedly slow brew. GG's. Alrighty, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. Gunblaker, I feel like you're close. This was a deck that relatively consistently triggered Cori-Steel Cutter, that had very strong amped raptor turns, that had a good amount of interaction and disruption, and hit its land drops most of the time. And in that capacity, I think this is successful. So I think the question to ask moving forward is playing a Rakdos deck in Legacy reasonable when you could be playing a DRC Cori-Steel Cutter, Brainstorm, Ponder, Daze, Force of Will deck that has better catch-all answers and other large efficient threats? Blue-Red Delver was a very, very reasonable contender pre-banning and will probably be better post-banning. If you wanted, you could even turn this into a Tamiyo deck if the metagame goes that direction rather than being as maximally aggressive as possible. You could, try to mid-range a little bit if you wanted. And that deck can afford to be a wasteland deck as it goes up some lands from what you were doing and also gets cantrips for consistency. I imagine that the overall consistency of this deck is much higher than the consistency of this deck. And when you have these important haymakers that you want to find, the cantrips allow you to play fewer copies of your absolute bangers, but just find them with more consistency. So if you look at how this sideboard is constructed, other than some effects that you probably want to see multiple of in the same game, this is largely a singleton sideboard, whereas this is a sideboard where I am playing like 4 copies of some things that I want to find, or 2 to 3 copies of things that I want to find. So I'm going to give you the thumbs up in that I think you have constructed a good Rakdos Cori-Steel Cutter deck, but I don't know that this is all that competitive at the end of the day. It's well built for what it is, though. And with that, I'm gonna go eat some lunch. I'm gonna get this video processing, and then I'm gonna get right back into some legacy queues and keep recording some sweet legacy action for you all. If you made it to this point in the video, on the way out, please consider leaving me a like or a comment as I kind of re-kickstart the algorithm after people maybe weren't excited about legacy for a while. Have a great rest of the day, folks. See ya!